Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and hanging out with me as always is
Rob Morphy,
Robert, and of course,
I'm Chris.
Christopher. Thank you all for joining us. Cryptonaut podcast, back doing it, taking a little bit of jaunt here to something that we haven't covered in a couple of episodes. I'm not even sure the last alien abduction that we've talked about.
It's been a little bit.
I'm trying to think what
Might
was
have been Womack's Weirdos.
Oh my gosh, it's been that long.
I don't know for sure, but I know that's definitely the one that really pops up in the memory hole.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it may be that long. Well, yeah, because The Invisible Boy was not that two-parter. No.
That I would not consider that an alien abduction.
No, not at all.
It might be, but I don't think so.
Could quite possibly be the exact opposite, but we're diving headlong this week into the Rixicron Experience. Now, we had a little pre-talk because I couldn't say Rixicron. I still can't say it. I'm not sure why. My mouth will not allow me to say Rixicron.
Okay. Well, you're 2 for 3.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
Yeah, the first one I screwed up.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's not a word we often use, in all fairness.
No, but for some reason, I'd read it and I just can't. I don't know. I don't know. It's a mental block. Was I a part of this? Is what I'm getting at.
I mean,
can we make this about me?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. It's about you.
Let's get started with, in the early 70s, an Australian geology student hopped on his motorcycle and sped off to visit some intriguing rock formations, never once suspecting that his morning jaunt would send him careening headlong into the most mind-blowing odyssey of his young life, and one of the most incredible alien abductions on the books.
It's some batshit crazy.
Dang.
All right, man. Well, again, we haven't done one in quite a while. The Rixicron Experience. I'm here for it, Robert.
Nice.
Let's do this.
And I'm delighted to say, not a gray in sight.
Oh.
Not one of those little fuckers.
Good.
All right.
In the corner, hiding out, waiting to probe you. Nope.
Okay.
Scoot.
Being a not owl.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Although our last gray experience, I believe, was John Edmonds beheading them on Moss.
Oh, yeah.
So,
which was a real delight.
Well,
I mean,
or at least he sad.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
I mean,
All right, but this is a new case,
okay,
a new scenario, a new victim, and a new odyssey.
All right, excellent, man. Well, I'm here for it. My body and mind are prepared. Let's do this.
Until his death in 2023, Australian cryptozoologist, explorer, and author Rex Gilroy was a celebrated figure throughout his home country. Along with his wife Heather, Rex spent countless hours in the field tracking down such fabled critters as the yowie, moa, warrigal, and of course the thylacine, in rugged wooded terrains that are their supposed natural habitat. Due to his popularity on the supernatural circuit, this intrepid adventurer often found himself being approached by total strangers who regaled him with tales of their own brushes with the bizarre. Though this happened quite often, one such run-in would make a profound impression on the legendary monster hunter. The incident occurred in August of 1973 when Gilroy was introduced to a young man who had an incredible story to tell. The event in question took place 3 years earlier and would become one of the weirdest, though least known, metaphysical and potentially multi-dimensional alien odysseys on the books. The experiencer was a man named Jack Davey, and his extraordinary account would be published in Rex and Heather Gilroy's 2004 book, Australia UFOs Through the Windows of Time. Here is his astonishing tale.
Oh, man, paint me a picture.
In 1970, Jack Davey was a university-level geology student in his mid-20s living in the city of Penrith, a local government area in the state of New South Wales, located some 31 miles from Sydney's central business district. By all appearances, he was an ambitious student with an adventurous streak and a yen for field work. As such, on a chilly early winter morn sometime in June, Jack bundled up, straddled his motorcycle, and left the metropolitan furor behind for the 75-mile trek to the 170,000-acre Conagra Boyd National Park, which is nestled within the Forest Gorge and river-ridden central tablelands region of southeastern Australia.
Tablelands, I know them well.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Who doesn't? My third to-die destination after Raplanges and the verdant hills of northern Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what any of this is.
I mean, well, no, they're beautiful and austere and
I'm
somewhat
sure.
remote.
We don't have those here.
And also because it always blows my mind, even though it shouldn't, because I've traveled enough. June is the beginning of winter in that hemisphere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's because where they are.
yeah. So it just flippity flops, as it were.
Oh, because
So when I said at the beginning of winter in early June, for people like us, it's like, I call bullshit right now.
Oh,
but no,
because of
that's
where
how the
they
Earth
are.
works.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what a bummer.
See, we should be teaching Earth science and not cryptozoology.
July 4th must suck there, dude. It's freezing.
Yeah, hey,
thought they-
winter fireworks, more reflections.
I guess they don't care, but
I don't think it snows much.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's never freezing.
You get a warm Christmas, though, right?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
by
cool.
default.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does not snow there, does it? I know.
Maybe in the mountains.
I know my hemispheres.
Geography.
Yeah, with Mark.
Jack's intended destination were the stunning fossil-filled Jenolan Caves. Located just west of the Blue Mountains, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is set inside the Jenolan Karst Conservation Reserve and is the most ancient known open cave system on the planet. It's likely that Jack was interested in exploring the calcite formations dotting the over 25-mile network of multi-level limestone tunnels that follow the course of the subterranean Jenolan River. But it seems fate had other things in mind for this weekend warrior. At approximately 10 a.m., as Jack was cruising down the Great Western Highway, the rider noticed that the sky had suddenly and inexplicably darkened. For some reason, this precipitous plunge in the natural light made the budding geologist consider a change of venue. Instead of going to the famed caverns, Jack decided to continue down the gum tree-lined Jenolan Cave Road until he hit a stunning panoramic vista known as the Conagra Walls. According to the website pioneerwalks.com, quote, the main attraction at the Conagra Walls is the spectacular lookout. This unfenced viewpoint offers awe-inspiring views of the surrounding cliffs, valleys, and the Conagra Deep, to which I would like to add, what the fuck is the Conagra Deep and why does it sound so fucking scary?
Yeah, man.
I don't want to go there.
No, dude, not like, bro, Conagra Deep. Let's fucking go chill.
Yeah.
Let's take a dip in the Conagra
is it
Deep.
water?
It has to be water. In my mind, it was instantly murky water. But you're right, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some opening in the earth.
But it could be.
Like a watering hole.
Like a cenote, but Australian style.
Dude,
It could be a super hole.
Ooh,
dude,
You
super
know.
hole.
super holes.
We have Australian listeners. What up, Bree? And she's probably yelling right now. Explain to us what this is.
But the Conagra, it's probably a beautiful
probably
natural
is.
site that we would all love to see.
She will DM me and tell me.
But
And I wanted to learn.
It's a place where nightmares live, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah.
As of now, in my ignorance.
Okay, fine.
Cruising down the dusty road, Jack made the turnoff near Oberon, and as he continued up the lane, he was startled by the unexpected sight of a surging silvery glow that blocked his passage and seemed to be rising up from the road like an inexplicable pillar of fog. In the mystifying murkiness of the morning light, John could only look ahead in wonder as the brilliant, though never blinding, column of cloud pulsated, illuminating the trees on either side of the road. Being a scientist in training, it's likely Jack's mind ran through all of the logical explanations as to what this ambiguous expanse of undulating illumination might be. Perhaps it was an isolated dust storm or a bizarre vertical patch of fog that had spontaneously formed and was now being illuminated by his headlamp. Or maybe there'd been an accident and this was a huge plume of smoke backlit by the headlights of an incapacitated vehicle. Whatever this enigmatic obstacle may have been, Jack's heart almost certainly began racing when he realized that, despite his best efforts to avoid the turbulent mass before him, his motorcycle refused to slow down.
Dude, the haunted motorcycle.
Yeah, just taking you where it wants to.
Ghosts are in control.
Clinging to his handlebars, Jack likely braced himself for impact as he barreled headlong into its silvery brilliance. Once inside this vaporous wall of light, the student's fear turned to shock as he suddenly felt himself and his motorbike being sucked skyward. Looking up, Jack saw that the pillar of glowing fog was concealing a massive circular object, into the bottom of which an aperture abruptly opened. Before he knew it, Jack found himself inside this hovering globe. Glancing down, he watched as the opening closed beneath him and he and his bike were lowered gently to the surface of the object. While little mention was made of the young man's psychological state during this extraordinary encounter, it stands to reason that losing control of one's motorcycle, being sent spiraling through the air and ending up inside an orbicular craft of unknown origin, left him at the very least perplexed and almost certainly scared shitless. Looking around, Jack saw that he was in a hexagonal-shaped room with a domed ceiling that was about 50 feet across and 12 feet high. The angled walls emitted a soft, light bluish glow. The terrified rider climbed off his bike, but before he could make a move, he quote-unquote felt a voice that said, "All is well." For some reason, the sound of the voice instantly quelled the panic welling up inside of him, indicating perhaps that whomever abducted Jack had access to the same telepathic balm that others of its ilk seemed to be able to manifest in order to ease the fears of the justifiably terrified abductees. So that's something Greys seem to be able to do.
Yeah.
Nordics, all of them seem to be able to take like a really scared animal, the us, and be like, chill the fuck out. And we're like, oh yeah.
Nah, dude, it's all as well, man.
And you know what? If you've got the skill, if you've got some weird psychic wave or chemical aerosol or whatever the fuck it is, how about fucking giving it to this species who fucking, I don't know, could stand to like amp down the anxiety by about 300%. Maybe it would stop a few wars or at least make days a little easier.
Yeah,
Maybe don't show up as a shining fucking tornado.
Yeah, not for nothing. Don't abduct people into don't suck someone with their motorcycle up into your craft.
But it does prove that they don't want to like actively territorially invade, because all they would have to do is seed the clouds with this like, hey man, it's all good vibe, and we'll be like, yeah, dude, aliens are here. Wick.
Well, I mean, if they're in cahoots with the pharmaceuticals, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
but
if it's a weed tornado.
Yeah, dude.
By the time you get in the shape, you're like, man, I kind of don't care anymore.
Weed tornado, you guys are cool, man.
Got sucked up, but kind of want some brownies.
Until the paranoia hits.
You guys got
I
pizza?
wanna die.
This orb?
Yeah. Just imagine though how helpless you must feel if you're driving and all of a sudden you're just like glunk and they just suck you right up.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you're like in the air with your motorcycle getting sucked upward into a craft. Like, that's gotta feel so fucking weird,
oh,
dude.
my God.
Oh, it's gotta suck.
Yeah, you were definitely impotent as shit. Like you and to not be able to go forward in the classical definition. I'm not just saying his dick.
I was like, why do you care at that point? You're like,
no, impotence. The sense of general impotence, not fucking his dick didn't work on his motorcycle.
I go right to fucking dick pills, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for the rest of the listeners that can be fucking grown up about this for once.
Right.
You fly headlong into the goddamn fucking fog.
I knew you were going to do that.
And then all of a sudden you can't stop yourself horizontally, but then you can't stop yourself vertically.
Yeah, man, that's fucking scary.
Terrifying.
Dude. Yeah.
In the impotence he must be experiencing, not involving specifically his dick.
Whatever. We don't know. Don't presume his impotence.
He might have had a raging heart on the whole way up.
He could have been.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, dude. As soon as he got sucked up, he's like, "I'm coming."
Okay.
Yeah, and then he started going up.
All
up
right.
there.
This is how we diminish all of the momentum.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
They don't take this stuff seriously.
No, Jesus Christ.
1-star review.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've listened to 300 some pods, and you know, I'm pretty sure they're not going to start respecting the source material.
Definitely not.
But we do respect the victims.
No, see, and honestly, this has got to be terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt. So hey, it's all good, and you know what? In Jack's mind, it's kind of better. Maybe not all good.
Here
but
we
kind
are,
of better.
man. We're making it happen.
Without warning, a portion of one of the 6 walls slid open, revealing a trio of nude humanoid, but decidedly inhuman, beings who slowly approached Jack. The entities, whose specific genders were not identified, but were all, based on later descriptions, presumably male, stood approximately 6 feet tall and bore grayish-blue complexions, though one might reasonably suppose that the bluish hue was enhanced by the room's illumination, you know, the blue glow coming from the walls. Yeah. Unlike the prototypical greys often involved in abduction scenarios, Jack described these organisms as being very similar to humans, but at the same time having an alien appearance. He claimed that their exposed sex organs seemed comparable to those of Homo sapiens, and that they had human-like noses and teeth, though the latter were set in a mouth smaller than ours. Jack noted that the biggest difference between us and them was that their eyes looked nearly identical to the large, dark, gentle eyes of a doe, which of course made me think of the character of Dren in the 2009 movie Splice.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of weird, attractive, but very alien weird.
Yeah.
The Adrian Brody raises and then bangs in a very awkward thing. I saw it once.
I saw it
ago.
once too, yes. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
This.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to see what I'm talking about, just, I don't know, I'm sure you can just Google Dren or in Splice. You will see this figure. Okay. But that kind of reminded me of the eyes. But who knows if it's fucking accurate.
All right. Interesting.
Continuing on. Though it was not made clear if the eyes were also situated further back on the skull like those of a deer, If indeed they were, this might indicate that, unlike ourselves, this species evolved from plant-eating prey animals rather than a more predatory ancestor. Though, to be fair, Jack may have been just using the doe analogy to depict the basic size, color, and overall shape of the alien being's eyes. So I don't know one way or another.
Right.
Just throwing shit out there, see what sticks.
Yeah, I'm looking at Splice. So this is what he raises this woman
From like a
and-
weird monstery creature, and then she becomes more humanoid.
She's like part kangaroo apparently or something.
Yeah, the
I
legs.
guess. Okay, weird.
Or Panish.
All right.
Satyr-esque.
Well, I mean,
Betailed.
okay, I'm gonna put this on my Netflix list to watch.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All
right. Well,
note that it comes with, not an unrecommendation, but not a glowing one.
okay.
either.
Well, I guess we'll make the attempt.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. So getting back to my doe-eyed
Yes.
blue aliens here.
Yes.
Whatever their evolutionary origins may have been, the creatures then led Jack through the passage and into another room with the same light bluish glow. The student marveled at what he took to be a huge arrangement of grotesque medical equipment that filled the room, all of which seemed to be situated around the centerpiece of a large oblong metal block bearing a bipedal body-shaped groove in the top. Without uttering a word, telepathic or otherwise, the naked blue beings began using an odd array of apparatuses to quote-unquote poke and prod their human hostage. After this initial phase of examination was complete, the things then stripped their frightened captive and telepathically instructed him to lay inside the humanoid depression in the metal block.
Oh, don't do it.
I mean, what are you going to do at that point? Say no?
Yeah.
All right, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work.
Fight back, man. Fuck.
He didn't.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
Yeah. Story continues.
Yep. No sooner had his flesh touched the metallic surface than the young human suddenly felt as if his skin had been glued or somehow magnetized to the block. It was then that the now silent creatures abruptly made their exit. Frozen to the block, the petrified youth could only scan the unidentifiable blue-hued text surrounding him and assume that the worst was yet to come. Somehow, maybe due to sheer terror, though just as likely induced by some unknown method, Jack lost consciousness. When his wits finally returned to him, the student had no way of knowing how long he'd been out. But his first sight was a bunch of blue beings standing expectantly around the big block, two of which were holding his clothes, shoes, and other possessions. Surrounded by these eccentric entities, Jack pushed himself up and found to his relief that he was no longer stuck to the odd block. He took his belongings and began to dress in front of the silent crowd, all of whom were staring at him with what one hopes was academic objectivity.
Yes.
And not dirty little leers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they're naked too, though. You could just be like leering back at them, like, "Oh, you want to look? You want to look at this? I'm going to look at you."
It's true.
There you go. Lock eyes.
I get the feeling
on your genitalia.
they're probably a lot less impressed with nudity, like blown away.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If their culture is a nude culture, then they're going to be thinking he's weird when he's donning his clothes.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, weirdo?
All right, man. I don't know. Well,
Who knows? Once dressed, the beings led Jack out of the examination room and into a brightly lit passageway. Blinking as his eyes adjusted to this much harsher light, Jack found himself being whisked through this chamber and into a tubular walkway that seemed to be about 20 feet in diameter and bent downward at an angle, heading into a colossal building. The last part's a quote. Descending the tube, Jack had the impression that he was leaving the orbicular craft that had sucked him and his bike off of terra firma, though how far it had taken him he could not fathom, and that now he was entering a much larger area, one that he claimed resembled a great hall. So maybe Valhalla? I'm not
That's
sure.
exactly, if I see Great Hall, it's
that's the first thought, always.
Yeah.
Orbited by his own entourage, Jack saw that this massive hall was filled with a vast assemblage of unclothed creatures like the ones accompanying him. He noted that all the males appeared to be about 6 feet in height, while the females were more slender and stood no more than 5 feet tall. But what struck Jack as their most incredible aspect was the extraordinary array of epidermal hues, from vibrant reds and blues to vivid greens and golden yellows, these creatures exhibited. In this light, he realized that his initial assumption had been correct and that the beings who were now escorting him were, indeed, blue. While his impression of this moment went unrecorded, one would not be remiss in surmising that Jack, being an academically oriented student scientist, had to at least consider the implications of having been abducted by a ship with, as far as he knew, an all-blue crew in a society that was clearly fully integrated. Could it have been like some kind of galactic genetic caste system that the color one was born dictated your lot in life? Were blues pilots and navigators while greens were scientists, reds politicians, and golds military, clergy, medical, or heaven knows what? Or might it be that there was some aspect of prolonged space travel that could change one's pigment into light sapphire? Perhaps it was merely a coincidence. Neither we nor Jack have any way of knowing for sure. As the blue beings filed Jack through the teeming throngs, the entities stopped and stared at the pale-clothed stranger in their midst. Although the huge hall was shrouded in a hushed silence, Jack got the distinct impression that the folks surrounding him were all engaging in animated, albeit telepathic, conversation, and that the focus of their silent discussions was him. It must have been an extraordinarily unnerving experience.
Yeah, when everyone's just talking about you and you're like, fucking know what you guys are talking
I know.
about.
You look at it,
you know.
You look at Billy Pale Clothes.
Yeah,
All
exactly. Oh, look, a little tiny human dink guy.
Oh,
You're
you
like,
know
yeah.
he's thinking that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Maybe he's
Yeah.
got a big old dink and that's one part he's cool with. Doesn't matter. He's wearing clothes.
I mean, well, it's true. That's true. But I
At
mean,
this
they're all
point.
naked, so you could be like, yeah, fucking, why don't you put it away? Have some fucking decency, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think Jack's as judgy as you.
Yeah, I
Same.
think he's trying to live.
Yeah. That's
So,
fair.
Like,
Yeah, he's
I
not at
mean,
all worried
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Put a towel on, Claxar. How about that?
Wow.
you want everyone to be Jack Burton in these situations, and that's just not real.
Yeah,
it's
well,
not real.
no. I mean, it sounds good, but he's honestly probably scared fucking shitless and happy to have his clothes back on. Like, whether or not watching me get dressed, that's a good step in the right
That's
direction.
what I'm saying. You're in a great hall.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're not the food
Yeah.
for the great hall.
Ooh,
That's true.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah,
the
yeah.
mutton.
So,
You
right,
never
yeah.
know.
And
Tread
then you're on
lightly,
the
but-
so like real quick, you're on the ship, and then all of a sudden you're in a city.
Well, all right.
All right,
so here it is.
weird.
Orb comes down.
Okay,
Tube shoots up from the building or out from the or I don't know how that works.
right? They
But
got him though.
You walk into this little corridor, then shoot down the 20-foot angled tube
Yeah.
into this building that is the Great Hall.
Oh, so it's a part of
Yeah.
the ship.
No,
Weird.
it is part of this building that is below where the ship is hovering.
Oh, okay.
That's the impression I'm getting.
Weird.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, I just felt like maybe it went somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of seemed
Because
to me like
he was out,
It
and
flew,
so, like, they
and
went
then they're
somewhere.
like, "Welcome to our
Or
home
it
planet."
docked somewhere.
I can't guarantee.
Yeah, there's no. I
Okay.
went this
You know,
way.
yeah,
clearly
no,
because we all have different
Yeah.
takes on
Yeah.
what's what.
Exactly. My
Okay.
impression was simply that this thing came down and the tube either came out of the craft or up from the building, connected with the orb vehicle, and they were descending into said building.
Okay,
That was the
gotcha.
vibe I got.
Okay, cool. I like it. All right, well, we
Right.
all have our own little experience here.
Absolutely.
There you go.
As the crowd parted, the perplexed human was ushered out through the hall opening where he was confronted with a sight which he would never forget. As soon as he stepped into the light outside of the cavernous hall, Jack stood awestruck. Unfolding before him was a monolithic stone-paved plaza that led to a series of towering geometric structures, from pyramids to domes to cubes, which the young earthling believed were constructed from a strange synthesis of glass and metal. How he came to that conclusion, we will never know, unfortunately. But that was his
okay.
opinion. It's glass metal.
uh,
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But that's what he sees.
All right, cool, man. Cool.
Like the citizens of this alien land, the oddly shaped buildings came in a dazzling array of colors. Running between the architecture were a range of flat metal roads over which the entities flew back and forth on odd oval-shaped hover vehicles. Other beings seemed to prefer the autonomy of jetpacks and were zipping around on what Jack described as backpacks, with rockets attached that appeared to be manipulated by a cluster of buttons on the chest piece.
They got their own Boba Fett jetpack,
Yeah,
man. Rocket
Okay.
Fire and Boba Fett.
All right.
It is so 50 sci-fi.
Man.
It's
Yeah.
like flying through the air,
You never
hovering
see
over the roads.
jetpacks, man.
I know.
I mean, the Potosh, but he had like a helicopter.
Yeah, that's a
He had a
helicopter.
helicopter seat. Yeah.
But not a fucking jetpack.
No,
This is cool.
it's the coolest.
All right.
Yeah.
Fuck, I want a jetpack. No, I don't.
Oh, well, no.
I don't.
In real life, no.
Yeah, there's a
They're
reason why
inconvenient.
they're not really
I know.
like because having something combustible that close on your back.
You're gonna,
You're all gonna burn your legs. You're gonna burn your legs off.
Yeah.
Like it's
You're just gonna roast your ass.
The core strength you
literally.
need to keep your legs out of flames harm. It's something
Yeah,
I've
you gotta
never
do some
possessed.
weird
Yes,
like
yeah,
leg lift.
Yeah.
I just look like an asshole letter L while you're fucking flying away.
It's
Nice.
totally true.
All right, cool. All right, man. Fucking jetpacks ahoy, dog.
Jack took in his astounding surroundings in just a few seconds before being led into the plaza by the blue brutes who had taken him as a, at this point, wonderstruck hostage. It seemed as if the beings in the plaza were every bit as curious about their unexpected visitor as had been the crowds in the hall, and Jack felt the piercing gaze of all whom he passed. Eventually, the bulk of his entourage drifted off into the crowd, leaving the Earthling with just 2 blue escorts who led him into an emerald green, dome-shaped structure. Once inside, Jack stared in wonder at the strangely shaped furniture, including, according to Albert Rosales, who first, of course, documented this from probably Rex Gilroy's account, and was later introduced to me by our own Cole Herrold. So thank you
nice,
all.
dude. A story via Cole Herrold and Albert Rosales.
Through Rex
Dang.
Gilroy. So, I mean, its lineage is clear
Oh, man,
to
all
the
right.
original eyewitness.
Nice.
So it's tight, and thank you all who it took to get this story to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, according to Rosales' account, the furniture was a peculiar, soft yet rubbery, squared substance that appeared to be a bed. End quote.
Okay.
It was then that the 2 remaining members of the Blue Crew telepathically informed their captive/guest that the oddly furnished green dome would serve as his temporary residence while on their world. So it's going to be a little stay, buddies.
All right, man. So he is on a world.
That's what they're saying.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that makes more sense.
way more sense because I'm like, man, this ship is intense, man. How the fuck does this thing fly? They got all these domes and
Yeah.
paves and all kinds of pavings.
Sure.
Yeah.
Paves are fine.
Yeah,
Paves.
Yeah, paves.
Yep. Look
Yeah.
at them paves.
Look, wow, look at those paves.
It's a nice sidewalk. No, Mark insists it's the best paves he's ever seen. So deal with it.
It's a
So
dope pave.
it is a dope pave.
It's Monday, man. I'm fucking tired, dog.
All right, but all picking aside, this goes deeper. Right now, we are in typical alien abduction, old school extraterrestrial ET
Yeah.
hypothesis form.
Totally.
He gets scooped up in his motorbike, whisked away in an alien vehicle
Yeah.
to another planet. This shit is going to get deeper.
Well, it could be another planet or another dimension.
Give it time.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
now, it doesn't matter.
Right now,
It's true.
right now he's being told he's on a new planet.
Okay, cool.
And he's got his own sweet dome apartment with some crazy ass furniture
Kind of fun. They give you a place.
and a big old rubbery
Right.
bed.
He's got a bed at least.
Yeah, you got a bed.
Got a
you
green
know?
dome.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
dope pave.
Yeah, I mean, some dope pave. Yeah. Fucking bro. Fucking dope. Like, where's chicks, man? Is there a club? Is there a party? What's up?
Oh, there's chicks.
Yeah,
I mean, we already described
I know.
in various gorgeous hues.
Yeah, and he's here. He's got his dope pave and he's got his dome, man. That's all you need.
I mean, what more do you need?
Pizza.
Well, yeah, they better have a pizza oven.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
if I
it.
don't know if
I
I
mean,
trust a pizza here, man.
All right, so he's in his new house.
Okay.
He's got his 2 buddies with him who aren't buddies, who are his captors, but he's dealing with it.
Dope pave.
Whether out of fear, psychically induced compliance, or simple shock, Jack seemed to have resigned himself to his fate and continued to listen as the beings gave him a tour of what passed for the pantry. Jack was quick to learn that these creatures were strict vegetarians, and he was shown a wide variety of what was, to him, bizarrely contoured fruits and vegetables.
Oh, no.
Like everything else on this planet, the beverages came in a multitude of colors and seemed to be contained in very Earth-like fashion in both glass and plastic containers that vaguely resembled bottles. Jack's personal escorts telepathically communicated the proper methods of consuming his food and drink before they left him, utterly alone, in this eccentric abode where he almost certainly wondered if he'd ever see his home again.
Gotta
A
give
dark
you,
moment.
They got to give you instructions on how to eat and drink.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe he doesn't know how to open. Like, can you imagine giving
Yeah,
an alien a Capri Sun? They'll fucking die of dehydration before they learn how to poke that fucker,
I
right?
mean, worst case is cut the corner and suck that bastard
I still
down.
can't do it.
All right.
Successfully.
I've stabbed myself.
I
I've
always-
gone
It's
through both
fucking hard.
sides.
It's almost impossible.
I always send it through the full thing.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm like,
me too.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, fucking
Whenever my
Capri
kids,
Sun the
when
Impaler.
my kids do it, I just like clip the corner and I just put it in a glass. I'm like, here you go.
Oh, my.
No one needs
yeah.
this dumb pouch.
Yeah, but that's that is the fun part.
Yeah.
It's the little straw poking through the hole.
I mean, I've learned to do it. You stretch it out, you give it that little short jab.
Oh, you got
a short jab.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that shit.
But it didn't happen easy.
No. Don't Michael Myers that shit.
So let's not belittle poor Jack for not necessarily understanding how to drink foreign beverages.
You ever bent the straw when you're trying to put it in?
Oh, fuck yeah. I've
and
done
then you
all
gotta
that
get the
shit.
straw from the other one, but then you always have 1 pound with no straw.
Did you ever lose a fucking straw inside a juice box? Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a fucking...
No, I don't think I have.
Then you just have to squeeze it into your face
yeah.
like an animal, like a wild heathen animal.
Oh my God, that's I never
The shame.
happened, but just the shame is the big one. You're like, I fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Like we went to the moon.
As a species, we went to the fucking moon.
Well, I don't believe that we did, but allegedly we went to the moon.
I thought I had you.
No, not at all.
All right. So let's get back to Jack and his fancy bottles.
All right.
Fruit in bottles.
Yeah, and how
Fruit
to
and bottles.
properly engage and ingest your fruit.
And so now he's alone in a swank ass bachelor pad
At least he
that
has
looks
food.
like an overturned green ashtray from the 70s.
Yeah.
And fucking his weird rubbery furniture, which is probably comfortable and a little weird, and maybe you stick to it if you're too hot. But hopefully not. Hopefully alien tech has made it so it's not like a vinyl couch in like August, which is a nightmare.
Suck.
And he's just fucking dealing with it. But then he has to deal with something else, and we're going to get to that right now. On a more practical note, after his epic interstellar, or perhaps interdimensional, throw you guys a bone on that one, but I think this part is interstellar, Odyssey, Jack began to feel nature's call. Exploring his strange new home, he eventually came across a bowl-like structure that appeared to have been made from a crystallized metallic substance that, at least superficially, resembled a toilet. Deciding to chance it, Jack dropped trow and did his business. To his great relief, when he stood and pressed a button on the device, the contents of the bowl instantly disintegrated into nothing. Which, of course, means you better make sure you don't do a courtesy flush, because there goes the tip of your dick. You got to be real careful.
I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
it teleports, so if anything's even in the vicinity, like,
Dude,
That would worry me.
yeah.
you could easily lose a ball.
You 100%.
Yeah.
Like the bottom half of your balls go, and all of a sudden the rest just drop out. Into
I
the
wonder
fucking...
if there's water in this thing.
No, there's no water.
There can't be.
No, you just shit in the metal bowl, the crystal
Could
metal.
you imagine this entire thing you're going through, and you're like, man, I gotta really take a shit.
And when you're done shitting, and that's like one of the most authentic abduction moments I've ever heard. But when you're done shitting, you're looking around and you see a button. You're like, if this doesn't work, or if it like explodes everywhere in my new house,
Shoots
or
at
if
you.
it calls the police, like you don't know what this fucking thing is going to do. If it like produces
Yeah.
food and you're supposed to eat
Right.
it, and shit's in there already.
Right, that could have been like the replicator
Yeah.
from Star Trek, but no, you just shat in it.
So he got super lucky.
Dude, is there some form of bidet or toilet paper?
Yeah, I
Well,
was just going
that's
to
the
ask.
other problem.
Yeah,
He
do
didn't
you
mention
wipe?
anything about toilet paper.
No mention made.
How do
And
you
it haunts
shit
me
if you
too.
don't see a way to wipe and or at least splash some water?
Magical
Maybe
teleportation
it
of
just
dingleberries?
knows what shit is. Like,
No,
it
you
can
can't
ju-
be in.
So, if, like, you
Oh,
just
so
ask-
it analyzes what it recognizes to be shit in the
To
bowl
be-
and
yes.
removes all the shit in the
Yes.
vicinity.
yeah.
Probably from even inside your colon.
Ooh,
It might be
you're
the
asking-
cleanest you've ever been.
That's an interdimensional bidet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right.
So, I mean, so far, so good.
how do you take a shit if you see no way to clean yourself up though?
Well, you got to shit. You got to shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean,
Well,
he's been through space.
I mean, you could use your T-shirt.
he was fucking shame walked through the plaza. I mean,
Yeah,
not quite as
that's
bad as
true.
like the Game of Thrones fucking nude shame walk,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it wasn't
Right.
bad,
still
wow.
pretty unnerving.
True.
And he's home in his new home, doesn't know if he's going to see his family
I
or
guess
friends
this is-
again. And he needs to shit. At that point, you're going to shit.
Through all this guy's
You gotta
harrowing, all through his harrowing journey, this is the most human moment.
It really is.
It really is.
It's one of the most human moments in any of the stories
'Cause why-
I have ever encountered.
Why would you tell
in
us
history?
this story where you're like, I had
You gotta
to
shit.
I had to shit.
If you got pissed, it's one thing.
You know,
like-
I'd rather have you overtell all the fucking details than be like,
right, yeah, true.
Agreed.
I fell asleep and then I woke up
Yeah.
and I felt like I saw something.
There
You
are
know?
there are
True.
going to be very frustrating moments where things are
Always
described.
Okay.
Always
Always
are.
are.
Always
That are
yeah.
not nearly illustrated enough. So brace yourself for that. But this is one of those rare paranormal moments where you're like,
All right.
man had to shit and he did it. He took
Yeah.
the big chance. He won.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Good on you.
know, as
Push
a-
the button, didn't call the cops.
Yeah. I mean, as a maintenance mechanic at a sewage plant, I want to know how this works, man. I want to.
Of course you do.
I want to get this tech.
Your job
don't.
doesn't
That-
exist on
yeah,
this world.
that's exactly.
Or does it?
I mean, what are you going to be, like the crystal potty man?
Gotta go somewhere, dude.
Does it though?
I don't know.
I mean,
What
if
does
it's
it do?
literally
Fucking space.
disintegrated
But,
or
I mean-
teleported to space, like Chris is suggesting,
they probably reuse it as like reusable energy.
just be careful what you wish for. I don't want you not to be able to support your family.
That's true. I can't do this. I can't work naked.
Well,
Be weird.
I mean, that's the fucking job uniform.
Well,
Yeah.
you said you want to find out, so.
Yeah, all right. I'm working naked. Fuck.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Weird.
I'm going to bring us back to Jack and his Odyssey.
All right.
Though I'm going to enjoy thinking of Mark naked working in the alien fucking sewage
Yeah,
plant
no.
forever.
You got to pick a color.
Yeah, pick a color, spray tan.
Or maybe, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe you have to be blue or red. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's like Star Trek, maybe. Like,
I think
Oh,
I
like
would
the color
the
coding
engineers,
uniforms.
yeah.
Yeah.
Red would be pretty cool. That way people could see me in case I get in trouble. They could help save me.
yeah.
High vis red.
It used to be the engineers
Oh, it's true.
and the security.
Yeah, or I can just be high vis orange like I normally wear, like high vis green.
They didn't mention orange, but maybe a golden
Like, there
yellow.
he is. There's our guy. And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Dear listeners, for a moment, let's just clear our minds, center our thoughts, and let's think about something that you really need to get off your chest. Like, what's bogging you down mentally and emotionally in your day-to-day? Did somebody cut you off in traffic and you overreacted? And after your fit of road rage, you realized just how poorly you handled the situation? Are you having issues in the workplace? Maybe you and your boss just can't seem to come to an agreement and see eye to eye. I mean, this meeting could have been an email, but whatever, here we are, so let's do it. Did someone leave a negative review for your podcast, but you don't understand how they still gave you 4 stars? Maybe your wife and partner of 17 years is too busy reading her vampire smut book to understand your commitment to training for this year's Kumite. Now, I understand it's dangerous, but so is honor. We all carry around different stressors, both big and small, but when we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. It'll burrow into your soul, and it'll create a dark negative void, which eventually will explode. Now, therapy is a safe space to get these things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. Now, therapy can also be helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It will empower you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/hellerspace today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hellerspace. And now, back to the show.
After continuing on, what seemed to be a series of sleepless days, though Jack had no way to accurately measure the time that had elapsed, the 2 blue beings who'd taken him to his new domed home and were evidently assigned to be the human's attachés during his stay returned. With the unbearable silence clearly grinding on his already anxiety-addled mind, Jack began shouting at the entities, asking them, "Who are you? Where am I? And where have you taken me?" While it's not known if these beings were functionally deaf or simply had no way to translate the human's vocal entreaties, Jack quickly learned that if he simply thought about the question he wanted to ask, the answer would be forthcoming. Though, in what seems to be a hallmark of alien abduction cases, most of the entity's responses were, at best, uninformative and at least outright cryptic, because those motherfuckers don't have a straight answer in them. Never have. I highly doubt they ever will.
No, yeah.
They can't.
It's not that they're so much better than us and smarter than us, even though they are. You can still, we can talk to kids. We can talk to dogs. We're not dicks every time we fucking try to communicate with somebody who doesn't have the knowledge we have. They could fucking tone it down a little and help us out. I'm sorry, I'm pissed at aliens right now.
Yeah, wow, man. It's okay. It's
Well,
okay.
just one, stop being a fucking enigmatic dick.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
We're all in agreement. We're all here for you.
All right, I'm
we
better.
all back you.
I'm back. I'm sipping bourbon.
All right, well, make sure you also enter some water there, friend.
I do.
All right, good.
But though the answers to his queries might have been unsatisfactory, Jack was given carte blanche in terms of his ability to travel through this weird new world. His escorts let him explore the huge plaza and communal eateries where he reiterated, no meat was ever consumed. During his extended stay, Jack was allowed to ride the egg-shaped hovercraft that traversed the labyrinth of metal roadways and was taken inside a mammoth Museum. Nice pronunciation again. Master of words.
Is there a
museum?
Is there a helicopter museum?
I'm not even sure. Museum?
Museum?
What the fuck is that?
Museum.
I need to watch a documentary about a museum.
Watch a documentary. Oh, I said it right. Yeah, they're Manitoba, Bobby.
All right, say museum. Is that it? Museum.
Manitoba.
Museum.
All right.
Yeah. A documentary about a museum.
Taken inside a mammoth museum, that sounds so weird to me now, like structure, whose exhibits seemed to be nearly without end and were situated over 1,600 feet apart, making it impossible to enjoy the sadly undescribed displays without the help of the elliptical hover vehicle. So you have to drive from exhibit to exhibit in this fucking colossal, mastodonic fucking building, museum, if you will. And he doesn't, I don't know if it's art. I don't know if it's history. I don't know if it's their version of Civil War statues that are
IMAX,
uncomfortable
maybe?
to many.
You know,
I don't know.
It could be, okay.
It could be holograms of like, famous fucking aliens through history.
I guess you just don't know. Yeah.
We just don't know.
All right, cool.
Following his busy day, as the sun set low on the horizon, Jack was taken to his dome where he finally fell into a fitful slumber. When he woke, it was not, as he almost certainly hoped, in his room in Penrith, where he could chalk this whole episode up to a particularly weird and vivid dream, but in his new alien home. As Jack lay on the surface of his strangely soft bed, he tried to concoct a plan for escape, but he knew that there was little he could do. He was at the mercy of his captors/hosts. And for now, he felt his best option was to simply go with the program and follow their orders.
So he's completely lost track of time.
Yeah, it's been a couple days, but I mean, kind of like jet lag. Like if you travel somewhere else on Earth, you can lose track of time when days are exactly the same length everywhere because it's the same planet.
Yeah.
So totally. If you're on another fucking planet that's orbiting another fucking sun at a distance you don't know at a rate that you can't be sure about.
Oh, yeah, time gets all weird.
And that's like got to be the ultimate jet lag.
It's like going to Venus and falling asleep for like fucking half a year.
Rip Van Venus.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Weird.
As the days passed into weeks, Jack began to be exposed to more bizarre layers of his new reality. Though the method by which this happened is frustratingly vague, Jack claimed that his two guides put him on a hovercraft and took him through some sort of portal that his permanent escorts told him led to, quote, another world located in another time period and on a higher vibration than that from which he had come. So this is our first dip into the deeper weird.
Okay.
Time travel? Okay, fine. So he's going back into the past on this planet? No, not quite. Yeah. Another world at a different time on a higher vibrational level, which is what we talk about all the time. And like what Fey world, Magonia might be like.
Yeah. Okay.
When you pierce the veil, you are maybe entering a world on a higher vibrational or lower vibrational level.
Yeah, just some world adjacent to us in a different, again, not to reiterate, but vibrational level, which we hear quite a bit.
Sure.
All the time.
I mean, it is a lot of the buzzwords that we're familiar with.
Yeah, it is kind of like
it is.
crystals and,
But in all fairness, this was an account from 1973.
Right.
And so they were slightly less commonplace.
All right, but I mean, the hippie era had happened. People were groovy.
Oh, I'm just saying vibrations and crystals, all that shit was there.
Yeah, man, it was all fucking happening.
Star Trek and all sorts of shit had happened, teleportation. So I'm not saying that none of this could be pop culture reference. What I am saying is that maybe the celestial zeitgeist of paranormal thinking had not been super infused with the idea of vibrational plane jet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Fair.
So we're just throwing it out there. So he is... I'm one of the, I keep seeing Star Wars land speeders, but like a little more organic and smooth.
Right.
He's flying on this hovercraft, goes through this portal, whatever the fuck it is. He's in a different time, in a different world, on a different vibration.
Like 10 different levels of fucking complicated.
It gets weirder.
Okay.
This new world was astonishing. Jack stared in awe as the ovoid craft dipped and flew around a pristine hilly landscape made up of multicolored grasses, colossal blooming yellow flowers, and trees that towered over 400 feet high, all of which were situated between an incredible network of wide rivers that were interconnected with narrow creeks. It's almost like I'm thinking the canals of Mars, the way when we thought they were canals, the way they looked sort of geometric. I'm not sure, but that's how I imagine it.
Huh.
Jack looked skyward, noting that the cloudless sky seemed to be a pale bluish-green hue, and that even though the sun was much larger than that on the alien's planet, or his own for that matter, he found the weather to be gentle and temperate. Eventually, the maze of creeks and rivers gave way to a vast ocean that was riddled with watercraft of all shapes and size. It seemed as if this world within a world was a hot vacation spot.
So they have water and... Oh, it's weird.
A destination vacation
Yeah.
on another fucking plane of existence. And another, like maybe this planet is a burned out husk by the time they're doing it, but they're going back into its pristine, era.
And this entire time,
of cleanliness.
there's water and oxygen.
It's crazy.
Weird. Okay.
Jack marveled at this Seussian wonderland as his escorts informed him that, unlike Earth's oceans, the water here was clean and completely palatable. So you can just jump in the ocean, take a drink, swim around. It'd be weird. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're used to it.
Our oceans aren't drinkable because of pollution. It's mostly because of
and
salt.
Well, salt is
It's all salt.
Long before pollution, my friend.
Yeah, like we had nothing to do
if
with
you
this.
drank the ocean, you were
Dog.
fucked.
Yeah, don't drink the ocean, friend.
I mean, I'm not saying pollution isn't a
Our
problem.
ocean's better. You can drink it. Like, oh, why? Because ours has salt. We didn't do that.
Are you honestly getting defensive
We didn't
about...
start the fire.
Dude, they're not shitting on our oceans.
I think they are.
Wow.
We kind of did, though.
All right,
fuck
maybe we
you.
did. We didn't salt the ocean.
We didn't salt the ocean.
Salt the ocean.
Fuck
Dun, 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 dun. It was always salty. Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah.
It was always salty.
Just
I mean,
disappointment.
No, I enjoy Billy Joel. So that was okay. All right.
As a man that works with water, I take offense to this.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yes. After this mini odyssey, Jack was returned to his green dome where his attendants telepathically promised to pick him up again the following morning. Despite the wonders that surrounded him in this nearly silent world and the fact that he was being treated like an honored guest and not a hostage, Jack still pined for the comforts and unholy din of home. Eventually, the human drifted off to sleep, but when his escorts arrived shortly after dawn, Jack pleaded with them to return him to Earth. His near-constant companions claimed that they couldn't make that decision, and instead of whatever other plans they might have had, they escorted Jack to a massive glass building in the center of the city. Once inside, he was invited to sit on a comfortable, rubbery couch. I love this molded rubber furniture.
Why is everything rubbery,
I don't know, man.
It's
I don't know what they
weird.
make their shit out
They
of.
not have plastic there? Like...
They do for the
Maybe.
drinks.
Yeah, rubbery, yeah.
Plastic and glass bottles for the bevs.
Weird.
All right. Whereupon he was presented to a male and female being whose ranks he did not know, but who seemed to exude an air of authority. These entities explained to the Earthling that he'd been chosen at random and brought to their world for the purpose of scientific study, a process which, they unnervingly confided, took place even as he slept. And I hope to God he wasn't fucking touching himself, because nothing makes us look fucking worse in the eyes of aliens than fucking constant human fapping. Like, we just won't stop touching our junk, and the aliens know it. And so I hope he had self-restraint in the green dome.
If they can see it, man, whatever. They're looking at us. If you're curious,
I mean, it's on them.
If you're curious, you're curious.
I mean, he's in his mid-20s. He's got bank to spank.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no shame.
His abductors then explained that their planet was approximately 4 times the size of Earth and occupied by 6 different yet similar races, quote unquote, all of whom had their own leadership structure. He was also informed that they addressed each other by name, but before he could ask what the names of his current company might have been, he was abruptly shuffled toward an elevator-like structure that zipped him up to a huge 150-foot wide, 20-foot high round room that had in its center what looked to be an empty metal doorframe. His escorts encouraged Jack to walk through the empty aperture, and to his shock, he suddenly found himself in what he describes as a whole new dimension. So we got the phantasm tuning fork
again.
Yeah.
dimensional portal.
Okay.
A different place from Wonderwater
You're
World.
so far from Earth at this point, man. Just make it your home.
At this point, after you've traversed through, I don't know how many things, is it closer, further away?
Yeah.
Are you in a different
you don't
time?
know.
Is Earth a primordial boiling
bubble?
bubble?
Yeah.
Or is it like a long dead husk?
There are dinosaurs happening? Like, what the hell?
You don't know.
All right.
Walking into this new and even weirder realm felt to the human as if he had entered a, quote, kind of living movie where he saw scenes of the environment, the inhabitants, and strange animals, none of which were adequately described by the eyewitness. Thank you very fucking much. That makes me mad. Both fascinated and flabbergasted, Jack retreated through the identical doorframe on his plane, on this plane of existence and found himself back in the big round room with no trace of the peculiar planet. He then stepped back through the structured portal and began to explore this third new and by far strangest world. So I know I read that sort of weird, but like steps through, fucked up world, crazy animals, crazy shit.
Goes back.
Doesn't say anything, steps backwards through the whatever portal is still there.
Yeah.
Back in the round room, all technology, all whatever, his 2 blue escorts, steps back through and is like, fuck it, I'm here now. I'm going to check this fucking place out.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard, but, there it is.
All right.
Once inside, he met other beings similar to those who had abducted him. In particular, a group of females who told him that the collective name of their multi-layered reality was Rixicron, and that the creatures referred to themselves as ultra beings.
Dude, is this Ultraman?
Is it fucking ultra-terrestrial's origin planet? Is it Ultraman, where he comes from the sky?
Yeah, man. Fucking the Giants of Light. Ultra beings.
I mean,
very cool.
That was, well, after that show had been produced, because that was made in the late 60s, but right around the time it hit Western shores.
Yeah, would have been the 70s.
So I don't know. I mean, again, that's another possible pop culture inference that might have wormed its way.
I mean, ultra beings is kind of on the fucking nose there, but okay. But I like it.
I mean, they just seem cocky as shit, really.
Okay. Well, it's cool.
They also told him that his brain had been tapped and that their people had scanned the entirety of his memory bank. Knowing everything there was to know about their visitor and the culture from which he came, likely through the abductions of God knows how many others, one of the male entities explained to Jack that, quote, humans were still at a very low stage of evolution compared with their own. So that, I mean, doesn't shock me. They have interdimensional portals and 80-mile-long museums.
Yeah, whatever. And he's fascinated that he's shit in a bowl and it's disappearing.
Facts.
Should save that shit and throw it at this guy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, exactly.
While coexisting with these beings, Jack became aware of the fact that time seemed to be passing at an alarming rate. The former student felt as if he'd been in this subworld for months, possibly even years.
Oh, boy.
At least in terms of Earth years, as he still had not fully adjusted to the time of his adopted world within a world. It's not known if he felt and watched his body go through the aging process, or if this was the mere passage of days that indicated the amount of time that had elapsed. Either way, Jack had settled into a comfortable routine, exploring this extraordinary terrain, and in particular, the unique rock formations, one must assume, being a geology major, and fresh ideas with his newfound friends. Eventually, however, Jack's formal education had come to an end, and the beings then induced him into a trance-like state, during which his brain was fed a steady stream of information regarding the Earth and other worlds which raced through his mind before he eventually passed out. But just before he lost consciousness, one thing was made perfectly clear. The evidently immodest, doe-eyed ultra beings of Rixicron were in possession of the kind of higher knowledge that can only come when a species is at the very peak of its evolution. A road which would be long and hard for humanity to traverse, but not beyond the realm of possibility. When Jack finally woke up from his final lesson, he was not sure where he was. Caked in dirt and tasting air that seemed both familiar and foreign at the same time, the dazed Jack looked up and saw his downed bike and suddenly realized that he was back where he had started all those years ago on the Gentleman Cave Road. Still reeling from his experience, he got to his feet and looked at his watch. The time read 9:30 a.m. At first, Jack was presumably not aware of the chronal conundrum he would find himself embroiled in. When he climbed back on his still-functioning motorbike and sped back into town, it's likely that he felt that years had actually elapsed in his absence. Perhaps he wondered what his friends and family would think of him suddenly turning up after all this time. Would there be joy, recriminations, or both? Could some of them have passed in his absence? What kind of world was waiting for him? But as he drove down the familiar road and saw that things were exactly the same, perhaps he began to consider another possibility. That no matter how much time seemed to have passed, he'd actually been returned to the exact day just a half hour earlier than he'd initially been taken. If that were the case, was he silently dreading the sight of an earlier version of himself heading in the opposite direction toward the most frightening and fascinating phase of his life? Thankfully, Jack never saw himself en route, but when he arrived in Perth, he realized to his delight, and perhaps with just a gentle glaze of dismay, that nothing had changed whatsoever. Finding his family, he told them about his extraordinary odyssey, but they, understandably, thought that Jack was either playing some demented prank or that something was deeply wrong with him. Somehow Jack learned to process and live with the experience, managing to reclaim what was to him his long-lost life. He eventually got married and started a family, but the weight of his secret was becoming too much for him to bear. It was then that this newly minted family man would track down the Fortean powerhouse known as Rex Gilroy and unburden himself. It's not clear if they met only once or a few times, nor am I aware of the level of detail that might have gone into this testimony. And now, sadly, it seems that so many questions still swirling around this incredible case will never receive satisfactory answers. The reasons being are twofold. The aforementioned death of Rex Gilroy and the fact that Jack Davy, if that was indeed his real name, allegedly suffered a nervous breakdown trying to reconcile the twin realities he'd been forced to endure, and as a result, he and his family migrated sometime in the mid-70s to parts unknown. Nevertheless, despite the lingering, nagging questions in the backs of our collective minds, we are still graced with one of the most extraordinary extraterrestrial exploits in the history of ufology. One that merges the ET hypothesis with strange interdimensional aspects that confound the mind and delight the imagination. And for that, at the very least, I'm grateful to all involved for sharing this report.
The Rixicron Experience. Oh, this is like 10 levels deep.
Yeah.
So, obviously, with this loss of, well, it's not even loss of time.
No, he's reliving it.
He experienced time in a completely different place.
It reminds me of the accounts of those allegedly involved in the Solar Warden program. And and the space, not the Space Force as we know it recently created, but the Space Force as it's allegedly existed since the 1950s and 60s.
Like Andrew Basiago and Obama.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And a few other people where they get you when you're 17, a portal opens in your bedroom, two dudes walk through, men in black types, they grab you, drag you through, you're conscripted into this fucking military force. It's called 20 and back. You spend 20 years fighting fucking in the wilds of Mars and doing all sorts of shit against aliens to protect the Earth. Then they send you back de-aged with your memory wiped. And for some people, their memory comes back. But for a lot of people, there's allegedly anxiety disorders and other things. And seeing I went through a lot of anxiety when I was fucking 17, I'm pretty sure I was part of the program.
You were.
I say tongue firmly in cheeks.
You were a commander?
No, I think I just had a lot of anxiety.
Commander of the Tank Regiment, Rob.
But all that
Morphy.
aside, the idea of being retrogressed back is not unknown. This might be the first time it was mentioned, if indeed 73 was when Gilroy first published his story. I know it eventually came out in a 2004 book, but maybe he wrote about it earlier. But that to me is very interesting. You haven't lost time, but I mean, what do you do with yourself? It's sort of like Rick and Morty, where you play that video game, Rodney or whatever his name is, and you live his life.
Yeah.
And fucking Morty had no idea what he was getting into, and he lived and got married and died, an old man.
Yeah.
Fucking, and then he came back. It's like, is this real? What's real? Like, how does a human mind wrap itself around the idea of losing, say, 8 years or 3 years or however long it was?
I guess kind of like Flight of the Navigator, sort of.
Well, yeah,
in
except
a sense
the kid
of time
came back later, younger.
Right. Oh, yeah,
and then was eventually sent back to the time when he disappeared at the same age, so his family didn't have to live with him being gone.
Yeah.
And his little brother wasn't now his older brother. All the bullshit that was.
Yeah. So this guy just has this experience that he feels lasted for that long, but in all actuality, he was only gone from Earth for.
And his memory was never wiped, apparently.
No.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even given that kind of
Now-
like, I hit my head, and maybe I'm sure he thought, my God, was the accident that bad? Did I have some really in-depth fantasy?
so-
but this is years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, I guess, I don't know. It is like that episode of fucking TNG. Mark wouldn't know because you don't watch it. But when Picard, they come Star Trek, Next Generation.
Oh, Next Generation.
They come across that fucking artifact in space, and Picard touches it, and he lives like a whole fucking life.
Yes.
And it's just a memory thing to keep this thing going, the memory of this race.
Right.
Huh.
So it could just be one of those fucking traps that's just, this is the experience. This is you touch it, you get the experience.
It would be,
you know what I mean? And then
I agree. I try to think like if we lived in a world like that, like if it's certain at points of your life, say at 17, 32, 71, you get to fucking experience like a 10-year no age odyssey where you get to learn things. But like, at what point, like, do you prioritize your core life as opposed to your new life? What if you like it better in this little niche fucking universe or whatever? I don't know. I mean, now we're getting to like heady theoretical aspects, but just from a practical point of view, Jack Davey, geology student, wanted to hit some caves, hit the fucking Kangara walls or whatever they're called, ends up fucking Gengar walls, shot into space, spends fucking however many years like visiting museums, living alone in this fucking place on this comfortable but weird furniture, shitting in a magic bowl, fucking goes to another dimension, has fun with water sports, goes to a deeper world in a different place, hangs out with this bevy of ladies that are like, oh, here's our name and we'll answer all your questions, la la la. And then eventually he's like, all right, fucking dude, you got enough. Back.
And I guess he doesn't actually know how much time elapsed. He just is assuming that it's been.
It felt like years.
It felt like years. Yeah, which is interesting because depending on where he goes planetarily or interdimensionally, time's going to work different. So he might be feeling that, but in all actuality, all right. But I guess before we get into that, because I got a couple of questions there as far as that. Skeptically speaking, let's go with like what we think could have happened. Obviously, could have been a motorcycle accident.
Well, yeah, he wiped the fuck out.
Trauma.
He wiped.
Sure.
He wiped. Chris, very to the point. You wiped the fuck out. Yeah. Brain, traumatic brain injury, brain trauma, CTE, whatever. Just completely fucked up. Fine. All right. That is obviously on the table.
Sure.
Has to be because he clearly, so he got up from that. So besides all that, they tell him that he's there for to be studied.
Yeah.
But they don't really, they study him briefly and then they're kind of like, okay, just kind of be on your way.
Oh, no, they study him a lot based on what they were saying. Like they're studying 24/7, everything he does, everything he reacts to, and then they're monitoring. That was the preliminary examination. That was the opening gambit.
So there's more.
But they study him, and I'm assuming that this like weird rubbery future 70s, S&M furniture fucking is not only easy to clean, but probably has some like biometric meters and other things, God knows what, that are like assessing whatever.
Him going into these other dimensions from this alien world, is that a part of this, of their studying him?
It could be.
Because that.
Why would you just be like, here we go?
Yeah, why give them access to these other side worlds? Like, how does that behoove them?
Well, maybe they're not treating him like the way human beings treat test subject animals, like just by doing horrible shit, seeing how if your eyes burn from fucking certain perfumes and, killing the bunny after that. Like maybe they're treating him as a sentient fellow life form where karma matters and you don't want to fuck him up. And you're and you're kind of studying them, or they're studying him to see how he reacts in these different situations. Okay. And maybe like how well humanity could adjust to a lifestyle like theirs, if indeed it ever could evolve to that point.
We failed.
No, he didn't fail. He didn't go nuts. He didn't try to fight his way out. He didn't grab a spork and start fucking stabbing.
And he was cool. Yeah, he was oddly complacent with everything.
No, he was fucking scared, I think.
But he was going along with it. He wasn't like a quivering fucking mess of shit in the corner. You're like, fuck, leave me alone.
I bet you that first night, until he shit in the fucking crystal pot.
Once you assert your dominance of shitting in front of your captors, then there you go.
You're a new man.
Fucking strange, man. Super weird. It's too bad there wasn't anyone that could like corroborate his, like, if he was gone for like a day or.
Well, that's the dick kicker.
Yeah.
Because had he been gone, or had there been a serious case of a guy who went missing, he was like, he told his roommate he's heading to the caves. He's gone for fucking 7 years. Shows back up, even if still looks pretty good, and he tells his family what happened. That would be a legendary case.
Even if it was like a day, he was gone for a day.
Yeah, like Travis Walton shit.
Right. Yeah, like
exactly. 5 day max. Yeah. Just scoot.
No, this guy had a whole other fucking life on the side and didn't even really have a chance to, I guess, live it.
We have to either accept it or reject it. Basically.
No, I think it's. I said we can go with that. He wiped out 100%. Fucking, he ate shit on his bike. Had trauma. Is all fucked up. Fine, whatever. But if what he's saying is to be believed, shit, man, this is a whole other, like, you're talking worlds within worlds within worlds.
That's true.
You're right. Well, I think I believe that he thinks this happened.
Right.
At the very least.
Yeah. Whether it actually happened.
Did it?
Yeah.
What would be nice to know is, where he stood on, say, loving sci-fi. Did he
True.
was he a Star Trek fan? Was he?
Yeah.
Is he a big
All
Doctor
that
Who?
stuff.
Is he a big Whovian?
Yeah, I mean, it probably was airing in Australia in 1970 by that time. Yeah. Also, was he into the UFO phenomenon as such? You know, whatever place it was in those pre Star Wars Close Encounters days, but still plenty of books. You know, Donald Kehoe and whatnot. And if his mind was already laced with these images, then maybe an injury-induced fantasy, some weird concussion-driven hallucination that felt, because we've all had the experience of a dream that seems to last a really long time, and you open your eyes and you look at the clock you were looking at a second before, and it's like a minute passed.
No, I absolutely.
But it felt like it was at least a half hour a dream. So, I mean, a mind is like a TARDIS. It's a lot bigger on the inside, and so time.
True.
So it could have happened that way. I would like to know where he stood on that. Unfortunately, we don't, and we never will. So, you know, there's just no way of knowing.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, though, he didn't necessarily have a super negative experience. I mean, granted,
but he had a huge breakdown at the end.
Yeah.
And anybody might, because it's like no one believes you. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
How does Earth reality feel to you after you've experienced
once you know the other side,
the three worlds of Rixicron?
So maybe they didn't mean to do that.
Minimum of
maybe
three.
they were like, he's not going to completely like lose his shit, and then he does, and they're like, oh shit, I guess we fucking went too far. We showed him too much.
I mean, maybe that's why they sent him back. They realized that like he was going like too he was adapting too well, and maybe would never be able to readjust.
But when he's on the planet, nothing negative's really happening to him. You know, I mean, it's not
giving him plenty to eat, showing him the sights.
Yeah, kind of letting him explore, do his own shit, and then I mean, maybe that would be kind of hard to handle when you come back and you're like, "Fuck, man, I got this whole gap of 15 years in my life.
I got to finish this paper that was due on Monday, the same way it was when I fucking left, but now I got to refocus on all this shit.
I guess it would definitely.
My girlfriend, who I haven't seen in forever,
for sure.
I got to fucking look at her like I haven't not seen her in 7 years or whatever." Like, all of this is going to build.
Yeah.
And then you tell your family, they reject it hard. Because because whether it's in your head or reality, it's trauma. And when the people closest to you can't or won't support you, that's a fucking ing. And so he eventually makes a family, but he can't reconcile it, obviously, has a breakdown, and the family's like, fuck it, you're done with Australia. Out.
Yeah.
And now he's gone to wherever.
Yeah.
Maybe alive, maybe not. Who knows?
Like, there was people, I'm like, when the first Avatar movie came out, that were so fucking obsessed with the movie and like the planet and the people that they just started losing their shit about, like, they just didn't want to be part of humanity anymore.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's just one. I mean, this happens in all kinds of genres of things. I mean, it happens in fantasy a lot. It happens in sci-fi a lot. People,
I'm sure there's a lot of Tolkien heads that have lived
just exactly what I went to. I was like, dude, there's some LARPers that fucking can't deal.
Mazes and Monsters.
The documentary starring Tom Hanks.
The documentary starring Tom Hanks.
My bad. I mean, it just happens. Like, wouldn't like this dude might have just been in some sort of fucking space and he had this experience, and now you can't
cope.
Just deal. With it.
Oh man. So this could definitely speak more to a whole hell of a lot to mental health.
Well, and regardless of whether or not the experience is real, the mental health effects are very real.
For
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. So so yes, that is a huge problem, and I hope he finds consolation.
That's brought on by this weird experience that you have. Man, unless you just think it's going on, and it's some weird, just your mind fucking with you, just like the beginning of some. Oh man, that's scary to think about.
And the worst thing is,
I feel bad for this dude, man.
No legitimate medical authority is going to be like, let's entertain the notion that you really were transported in a craft. Like, no one's ever going to entertain that. The only people that are going to entertain that are fucking ufologists, and that can be anything from like legitimate scientists that are really trying to help you, a very rare breed, or a lot of batshit crazy fuckos that are just gonna like fucking hoo-ha you down the hypnotism hole. Yeah. And so like you either have to accept the fact that you have serious head trauma and it made you fantasize about it, and you must accept that as the truth, or you really have to take a big gamble with the kind of people you're trusting with your life and psyche.
Sure. But I mean, honestly, a hypnotist session would have been interesting.
Agree. Like, I always agree with that.
Like, to say like, I mean, I guess it would have to be legit.
Also, I'd like to know what those fucking animals look like. Don't tell me you're on a new planet with new beings and new animals and it's weirder than everything else, and you don't tell me like what the fucking dog horse octopus looks like.
You give me the detail of taking the shit, you got to give me the detail of the animals.
Thank you.
Non-Euclidean animals.
Yeah, the weird, dude. Non-Euclidean animals.
Like those weird 60s cartoons where things were like 2-3 dimension, like they'd oscillate back and forth.
Yeah.
Just had weird ideas. Yep. Like UPI cartoons. I think I got that right. I don't know. But either way, some weird mind-bending shit. This guy went through something. Unless he was just completely yanking Gilroy's chain. And you'd almost hope that he is lying, because that's better than the thought of somebody out there, some old man out there today, who hopefully has learned to deal with it,
just bombed,
but one way or another went through fucking hell. And that's sad and scary. And that's the thing. When you wish for these things, be careful. This guy didn't even want it.
Even yanking the chain, though, I mean, it seems like now, again, if he's got, like a mental illness or just suffering from crazy forms of depression and anxiety, like putting this out there and talking to Gilroy and getting this crazy with it, like this not crazy, but like this in depth with it and really putting everything there, like, I mean, if it's a thing for like attention or trying to create a connection with somebody, it just seems like does it behoove you though, really? Or does it just put you in an even worse sort of mental state that you're already in, because you're kind of like,
I don't know,
reliving trauma that may not even really be trauma?
I mean, who knows what he was before this, though?
Yeah, we better help
All you know
him.
That he was a geologist or whatever. Like, you don't know where his headspace was.
Yeah.
And mental health
before that.
in the early 70s isn't where it is today.
No.
Or wasn't where it is today.
No, just
not by
here's some Marlboros.
Yeah. What's that?
I said, here's some Marlboros. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And, like,
smoke it off.
Everything's fine, dude.
You imagine that you go to a therapist like, kid, here's a pack of Marbs.
Yeah. Here's a shot of bourbon, pack of Marbs.
Man up.
Man up.
Sack up, son. Smoke a butt. Rip a missile.
Aliens, no aliens. If they weren't Americans, they were no good.
Good job.
God. Wolverines. Well, that hasn't happened yet, but regardless. Well, I mean, my heart goes out to this guy. It sucks that to go through that. On the same note, though, man, what a fucking crazy experience. If it happened, like, literally are traversing time and space.
I'd like to think somebody...
He's the only person that probably took a shit in an alien world.
No, I'm sure he's not.
No, yeah.
By far.
One that's told us about it.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, because
that's true.
I mean, most people probably wouldn't.
But if a third of the, not even a third, but like,
you got to bring that
if
detail
1% of the people who claim to have gone into space via, alien tech are telling the truth, he is definitely not the first or last person to have shit in space.
But he put it in the story.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He had the brass balls to say, you know what I did? I shat on an alien world.
No, I shat in an alien vase and prayed it was a toilet. That's what he did.
Yeah, a crystallized metal.
I took that could have been. He could have been shitting on the altar to their god.
Yeah,
and resulted
dude.
in like a painful death.
Oh,
like,
God.
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
you defecated in the face of our Lord.
Oh,
and he was like, "It looks like a toilet on our planet. We shit there."
Yeah. Oh God, you shit. I like how they keep driving home the fact that they're vegetarian. That's interesting too.
Like, we don't eat meat, like you scumbags.
That is really interesting, though, to be like, oh, they're vegetarian. Oh, listen. I mean, how would you even have any fucking well, I guess you could have a reference for.
Do I want to see their like weird geometric rutabagas? That's another thing. They describe how it looks weird, but how's it look?
Oh, that's right. Non-Euclidean fruit too.
Yeah, no. You know what it reminds me of? What are those goofy ass like gourds you get that are all lumpy? Look like they got like genital warts on them.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
zucchini type thing.
Yeah, just weird. Just those weird gourd.
Those
things,
goofy gourd, they're like artisan gourds or some bullshit.
Sure.
Like in my mind, like they all got like this covered in STDs. It's like what this guy's looking at is like all this super weird like dragon fruit shit.
Pulsating.
Yeah, like a real bummer of a mango. You're like, it looks delicious.
Bummer mangoes.
Fucking spikes on it, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
The lumpy mango.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, fuck. That's a. God damn it.
That is something else.
That is.
But I love it.
I know. Same.
I
love it. I feel terrible that they ended like that for this gentleman.
Let's hope it was a happy ending. He's hanging out with his grandkids right now, having a great old time.
Man.
Give zero fucks that it happened because like a few years is a long time. The first few years you come back from it. But after decades of living your new life,
maybe
your new old life,
like,
eventually you're gonna hopefully internalize it, deal with it.
I wonder, although if he really did go there, I wonder if there was any. Well, I guess it wouldn't be cellular damage.
Oh, why not? Who knows what kind of radiation he was exposed to on any of the 3 worlds he visited?
Yeah,
much less the machine that
they
took him
might
there.
have water and oxygen, but you don't know about radiation.
Dude, I mean, honestly, they have all those new reports. The one that just came out about fucking, citizens and soldiers being hurt by proximity to UFOs.
Oh yeah. Did you check that out?
Something blue?
Kona blue or
Yes,
something like
I think
that?
that's it.
I briefly looked at it. I was going to actually do it for Patreon, but I'm going to wait so we can get more information because it would actually probably be a great episode.
Absolutely. But so I mean, let's hope he faced no health or psychological ramifications in the long run and have a joyous, productive life.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Thank you for joining us, Cryptonaut Podcast, man. The Rixicron Experience.
That's all you can call it.
God damn, there it is, man.
Get the feels for Rixicron.
Crazy shit there. Be sure to follow us on the social medias, the Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks and the X and the Twitter. It's Twitter. I don't care. I check the mentions every so often, so hit us up there, mainly on the Instagrams. Hanging out, making it happen there. We got the merch over there at the tpublic.com. Recently had a Mother's Day sale.
Oh.
Even though Mother's Day is early. It was like an early Mother's Day sale, which is kind of cool. So,
yes.
Got that happening there. HeatherSpace.com. Get your mom something nice. Even after Mother's Day, get your mom some merch.
Sure.
Get her a nice tote.
Why not?
Maybe get her a sweet t-shirt.
Coffee mugs.
Your mom's cold. Get her a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do all that.
Possibly
and
some new stuff coming.
Possibly, yeah. Fingers crossed. We got some possible new stuff happening. Also, we got things happening, possible new things as well happening over at CrowdMade at CryptonautMerch.com. There's the way that shit works out for us sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's coincidental, but it's also like, oh, that actually ends up kind of benefiting us as a whole. And hopefully we'll be able to tell you guys about it if everything works out. And if not, we'll tell you about it on Patreon.
Yeah, well, one of them is bound to work out.
One of them's going to work out, and one of them's going to work out, and one could really fucking piss me off.
Well,
so we'll
it
see.
never fails. It will either be serendipity or a shit show. That is the way, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because most of it works out.
And this is just about new merch items. So it's not everything's so secretive about it, but whatever. It's fine.
It's just funny.
It's fucking so dumb. But anyway, there's merch. You can check it out there. The socials, check us out there. Rating and reviews always help. Do that on the Spotify's or the Apple Podcasts and the whatnot. And of course, we got Patreon, patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. Robert, some shout outs.
Oh yeah.
I think I skipped ahead. I skipped the shout outs, but we got shout outs.
Sure.
Fuck yeah, we do.
Yeah, so let's do those, and then we're gonna fucking bang out of here and go check out some Patreons.
Ooh. Beginning with Lay Teresa.
Thank you, Lay.
You Jasul.
Thank you, Yule.
Frodo Baggins.
Oh yeah, Frodo Baggins, what up?
Kara.
Oh, Kara, what's happening?
Lost Spaceman.
Hell yeah, Mr. Spaceman.
Angelica Cuey.
Thank you, Angelica.
Joe.
Simply Joe.
Simply Joe.
I love it.
Simply Red.
Simply
Joe.
Simply Red, yeah.
Mindset.
Thank you, Mindset.
Alex Avery.
That's my dude, Alex Avery. Holy shit, man. He was my GameStop guy. I met him at GameStop during the pandemic. In the entire pandemic, like, I don't know how long it lasted where we were all wearing masks in public. I didn't see his face until one day I came in and his mask was off. And I'm like, I need to learn to love again because I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
I never saw him without his mask on. But thank you, Alex. That's my dude. I hope that you're doing awesome, my guy. And hopefully to see you around town very soon.
Yeah, I think you should hang out with my nephew.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, no,
nice
Alex
guy.
is, dude, Alex
Thank
is the
you,
best,
Alex.
Man. Fucking shout outs, my dude.
And we're going to round this out with good old The Standby, Frank DeGraziano.
Yeah,
Frankie.
Frank, what up?
Frankie D. Thank you.
Hell yeah, dog. Thank you to everyone that supports us. Again, that is Cryptonaut Podcast, the Patreon edition available at patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. Talked myself into a corner with that one. We got some videos up there. If you're on the $5 or the $1 tier, you can check us out. Watch us doing the Patreon episodes. And of course, the $1 you get the 1 bonus audio. The $5 you get the 4 or more, depending on how many Mondays in the month, bonus audios. So be sure to check that out there. We recently had a Q&A session over on the Discord, which is fucking awesome, man. We had such a great time. Everyone had awesome questions. Holy shit. We were asking us about fucking Maiden and Sabbath and super fun shit. Dude, it was such a good time. And of course, shout outs to our girl Hecate over there running the Discord, making that happen. We appreciate that. And of course,
the best.
We got literally Jesus hold that shit down. We got Noah, aka Bone Daddy, who was fucking crushing it with his band. No luck. I'm gonna actually. I believe that it's on the Discord. I'm gonna actually look it up real quick here on Spotify because he was gonna be at the event, but he couldn't because he was doing a show. I think it was in Arizona.
Oh, he had a gig.
Something. Yeah, he had like a gig in Arizona. Yeah, he recently played with Madball, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's real
Because
cool.
Alec used to work for Madball.
Sure,
So
no,
I was
I
like,
know.
oh, hey,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
You're doing shit with them there. So, yeah, No Luck CA. You can find them on Spotify.
Are they
got-
like a hardcore band?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking beatdown hardcore. It's super fun. And Noah plays bass. So it's like, yes, dude. It's just that real,
Oh, I didn't know it plays
it's
bass.
real punchy, beat down, crowd kill, karate chop everybody.
Wow.
Like, dude, it's fucking dope.
Brutal.
So I gotta check them out. No Luck CA on Spotify, dude. If you're into hardcore, they're fucking so good, dude. Just straight beat down shit. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's all that. So, if you are on the Patreons, you can get access to the Discord, and you can jump in there and you can check out these monthly events with us, because next month, it's a special one for Bobby. We are going to be doing the joint viewing and behind the scenes / commentary of the Devil's Academy that our very own Mr. Robert Morphy started, which I still to this day, goddamn it, I think it's fucking awesome. I
Well,
seriously love it. It's
thank you.
it's phenomenal.
It's a good episode.
It really
it's a
is,
good
dude.
episode. You did good.
You
Like
did
it's
phenomenal, man. It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Word up.
A couple of people on there not so great. You fucking star.
Well, bless your
You're a
heart.
shining goddamn
God damn
star.
it.
Yeah.
You know why I love you.
Yeah.
Well, you narrate like, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but like, there's like, here's the priest, here's the day. I mean, and you just told the story.
yeah, you
Like,
like,
there was a slant. Everyone else was like, well, clearly
Yeah.
Satan shouldn't.
yeah.
Like, so I feel like maybe that's why you had more time, because you were just like telling the deal.
The
And,
tale,
and next
yeah.
time when this happens, we're
As
gonna,
I'm wont to do.
we're gonna
Yeah.
negotiate a better contract for you.
Yeah. I don't know how you do, but
We didn't know.
They came to our doorstep.
I know we didn't know, but
Contract.
still, no,
They
will-
couldn't even hang out. It was so fucking secretive. They wouldn't even let us hang out.
I know they were so weird
Fucking-
about it, which whatever, it's fine. But the dude that did it was cool. He
Oh,
was a
yeah.
super nice dude. He was very cool with us, and his assistant was awesome too. She was great.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there it is. Thank you all so very much, and we'll be talking with you next week.
Hell yes.
Could it be an alien?
Could be.
Could it be a ghost?
Maybe.
Could it be a ghost of a Bigfoot?
I mean, why not?
Could it be a chupacabra?
No.
How about a manta man?
Maybe.
Oh, I love a
Manta man?
manta man. What about
None of this screams
Ooh,
Manta
no,
Man.
hold on. What about a wet lash?
Jeez Louise. That's a possibility.
A
That's
wet lash? Is a
that's
wet lash?
That's a real possibility.
Okay. All right. Well,
The moistest of lashes.
dude, wet lash.
Yep.
I don't know if Chris has seen it yet, but it's got some fucking awesome shit, dude. Wet lash is a fucking bomb diggity.
Okay.
All right. Well, maybe next week, maybe not. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
No
that's-
promises.
no one knows. This is kind of seat of our
But
pants
wet
type of
lash is
stuff.
coming.
Okay, fine.
Can't promise in 7 days' time, but
Okay.
definitely coming.
All right. Excellent. Well, I'm excited. There you have it. Thank you all so very much. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yes. See you later, friends.
2 outros.
Double outs.
Double out.
There's going to be a third.
There
It's
might
coming
be.
right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
No one
So
sees,
anyway,
no one sees the triple out. Nice.
maybe there'll be triple outs on the secret tier when we get
Oh, triple outs. Yeah, triple outs. You never know.
We've done it. We've done it without any
Yeah,
secret
we're
tears.
doing it right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is it. Goodbye.
Fuck. All right. Goodbye.